Sup everyone, I'm your female otaku, and I'm here with JoJo Talks Too Much.
Hi, how's it going? I'm JoJo Talks Too Much. I do that thing where I talk a lot. That's a thing.
And we're both Anitubers, but for Pride Month, we're here to bring you this Ask an Asexual Q&A video where we asked you guys on our social media to ask us about questions on like asexuals and stuff because JoJo and I are both aces.
That's a thing. That is a thing that
Exactly.
I am. That we are.
Exactly.
There you go.
But the reason why I decided to bring JoJo on is to give you, just to show you that not all asexuals are the same. Like, JoJo, what kind of asexual are you exactly?
Well, for me, I know there's like, probably like a laundry list of labels that I should be called, but I typically just go under the umbrella of like ace. And that's just me. Like, I'm not being judgmental. It's just, I just call myself ace. And typically that means that I don't really like any kind of sexual encounter with anybody. Though romantically, I do tend to lean towards women as opposed to dudes, because dudes are kind of dumb. I can say that from experience. But yeah, I just tend to romantically interested in women, sexually interested in really kind of nobody.
Yep, pretty much same here, honestly. Like, I usually tell people, like, I likes the dudes, but I don't want to do the dudes. That's basically what I tell people.
Romantically, I'm fine. I lean towards women, but I'm fine either way. But when it comes to sexual stuff, I just not interested, like, across the board.
Yep, nope, I don't want to see your thing. Don't show me your thing, please. That's basically me.
So Snapchat, essentially. Right away, I was
oh
like,
my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay then, so we are just going to answer all of these, or most of these questions. We got a fair amount of responses too.
Yeah.
Of course we got a few like, dick questions and stuff, but I'm just gonna, ignore those people and stuff because,
But slow.
I'm not gonna give them the time of day.
Do you reproduce asexually? Do you reproduce through spores? Is that not, how it is?
I mean, clearly I'm a plant, you
Yeah,
know?
it's my favorite. It's why I like cactuses so much, because I am, in fact, a cactus. I am wearing green, so
Oh my god.
I am a cactus. It's like the people who identify as wolves. It's only I am cactus.
Oh my god.
Moving on.
So we're just gonna move on to our first question over here. I'll just go first. Emirs, apologies, I'm gonna mess up on a lot of your usernames, but anyway, he asks, asexuals simply don't feel any attraction to other people, or just don't feel romantically attracted, but sexually? That is actually the opposite.
Yeah, it's literally the opposite. It's, for me, I'm a big sap. I'm the guy who watches the romantic comedy for the romance and cries. But yeah, when it comes to just sexual stuff, I'm just not interested. It's, I don't know about Sloan. Like, I can't speak for Sloan, I can't speak for any other ace. I can only really speak for myself. And in as much as, like, it doesn't disgust me by any stretch, it's just more like, I would rather not be a part of that, like, whole thing. Just not interested.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, for me, I tend to feel a little more disgusted. I guess you could say I'm sex repulsed.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can do like a lot of things, like hand holding. I'm not scared of, obviously. Okay, I'm not scared of hand holding. Some asexuals are. They don't like hugging or any sort of contact at all. And some asexuals are aromantic, so they don't like anyone. They just see everyone as a friend.
Yeah. Like,
So
for me,
that's
I'm
cool, too.
very clingy. Like, I'm the friend who, like, and this is true, anyone who knows me can attest to this. When I see friends of mine, like, do you know in Scooby-Doo, when, like, one of them gets scared, and they'll, like, Shaggy and Scooby will, like, jump into each other? I do that when I see friends of mine, like, I'll run and jump at them, because that's just, I'm very clingy. Like, I'll run, I don't know, like, hugging is fine with me. Like, it's a very different, hugging people, like, holding hands with a significant other, kissing to an extent, like, I'm okay with. Yeah. Like, it's more just, because to me that's that's still more romantic than it is sexual. Like it's mostly just the act itself that kind of weirds me out a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like that. Cuddling's cool. I think that's adorable.
Cuddling's great.
It's so cute. Yeah.
It's so cute. As you said that, I was looking at a GIF of the two main characters from Scrubs cuddling, and I was like, "Oh, my bad." It's guy love. Sorry. Anywho. Oh, this is a good one. This one's from Dalton. Can you simultaneously have a sex drive and not really be interested in sex?
That is a fantastic question,
That's a good question.
Actually.
Yeah.
Because a huge misconception about asexuals is that they do not have a sex drive or that it is very, very small.
Yeah.
For some asexuals, like, I noticed this a lot with, like, dudes, they do have a normal sex drive. They just don't want to have sex with other peoples. So they just have it their own way, do their own thing. But they just want a regular romantic relationship with another person, but no sex involved, even though they have a regular sex drive.
Yeah, like, for me, I do have a low sex drive. Like, it's pretty... I don't say it's low, but it's pretty low. Mm-hmm. And, but I've been made aware... Because there are websites you can go to, like, chit-chat with other ace people. And I was very much, like, a part of that community big time when I first found out. Nowadays, it's more just kind of... I'm kind of whatever on it. But, because, like, the thing is, like, those communities are there for when you need them. And once you're comfortable, typically you can kind of just be ace on your own. And, you kind of, you get all the information you need out of it. And, one of the a piece of information that I discovered through that is that, dudes can technically have a high sex drive. And still be ace. It's just they kind of relieve the tension, if you will, in their own way. And that can be a number of things. That could be like an OCD thing. That could be a germaphobe thing. That could be a whole number of things. So you'd still fall under that umbrella. But really, it's at that point, I would question it, but it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what you are and what you are not. To me, I would kind of throw you under the ace umbrella if you do have a high sex drive, but you're not interested in sex. Though I would kind of be like, well, maybe you're just straight, but also, like, don't want to be grossed out with all the germs, bruh. That's a thing. It's fine. But yeah, but, like, the one thing I really want to hit home, like, no matter what else we answer today, is it really comes down to you. I can't tell you what you are. Sloan can't tell you what you are. You have to figure that out for yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't want to put any label on themselves at all. And honestly, label's a harsh word because it's not just like, hey, we're asexual and that's it. Like, no, I'm also a huge nerd. Like, it's just another adjective to describe who you are.
I almost don't even... part of me was, like, nervous to even do the video because it's to the point where I'm not really comfortable putting labels on myself at all. Because people, like, put you in a bubble. And, like, I'm this, but I'm also, like you said, like, a bunch of other things. Like, I'm not just the ace guy. I'm also, like, the guy who does anime in under a minute, although now there's 3 of us. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a thing. Like, you're more than just your sexuality or your race or your religion. You're you. This is just another little adjective to place on top of you.
Exactly. Yeah. As Disney as that sounds, it's true.
It's true, yeah. You're you, and that's what matters.
The Owl did some research, and he says, I looked up the term and found the different types of asexuals: repulsed, aromantic, flexible, etc. Which do you classify as, unless I'm mistaken? First off, great job on you for doing research.
Yeah, this is the comment.
You on that.
This is the comment that I liked, where I was like, I hit like, I was like, yes, that's a quality. Like, I'm glad you actually looked into it. Like, I appreciate that. Yeah. Good on you, Owl. The wise owl. The clever owl. Okay, anyway, moving on.
I mean, look, he's got glasses. If you see there,
I did see the avatar.
Profile
I was like,
pic.
nice.
I love it.
Well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's So repeat the last bit of the question is where he kind of lost me.
Oh, so from the different types of asexuals, repulsed, aromantic, flexible, etc. Yeah. Which do you classify as, unless I'm mistaken?
I would be. I don't know. What it. Again, like this is the thing, right? It's why there is a question later that I do want to answer, but technically, like there's so many labels that it's like I just prefer ace because it's easy, right? Like when I say asexual, you kind of get an idea. But if I were to like throw a bunch of labels at you, unless you're already entrenched in that community, you're going to be a little bit confused.
Yeah.
So for me, I just typically say asexual. That's just me. But I guess I would be. Is there sex indifferent? Because that would be me.
You know, there might be.
Yeah, because it's not like I don't appreciate aesthetics. Like that. That's the thing. Like I talk about ecchi anime every so often, and people are like, "Yo, how you shouldn't like that." And I'm like, "But I do though." Like there's a world of difference between thinking something is attractive and wanting to bone that thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I guess it would be I would be sexually indifferent because I just don't care. It's not in my to-do list. To-do. I do like puns though. Puns, sex puns, they're the best. Or you might say
hilarious,
they're
though.
the breast.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
all right. No,
Sorry.
for me, I think I have it on my Instagram profile now that I think about it. I say that I'm a demi-ace. So basically, I'm the correct term is demi-heteroromantic. So you see, using a term like that is going to be like, what?
See, it's exactly why I'm just ace. Everybody wants to put a bunch of labels on themselves. And look, man, if you do, that's your choice. I'm not judging you at all. Like I said, that's your call. To me, this is goddamn complicated. Like when it should be very simple.
So, like, basically, what that means for me is that I like people, but I have to basically, you don't like the person until you've had like an emotional bond. So whether that happens over a slow period of time, over a week, don't matter. But for me, basically, it's like saying I don't believe in love at first sight. Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was gonna be like, you don't believe in boning at first sight.
Well, I'm still asexual,
Yeah.
so that's not happening at all.
To me, I think there's some. We're getting into more of like a romantic topic, but I think love at first sight is technically a thing. I feel like that could happen.
It's just different with person, you know,
Yeah.
from person to person, just different.
I mean, like,
you know, we all have different experiences.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, you haven't been on riding the bus to school, because this happened to me. Where I was riding the bus to school one time. Like, you've never been like floored by somebody. Like I've had that experience of being like, wow, like that person is like it was just this like you know, like you just see like I was on the bus and I remember this girl came on like, and she looked like she was straight out of the 90s. And she had like she was reading manga. I didn't know what it was. I just saw like anime characters on it, and she was super pretty, right? So I was like, whoa, like that, like literally that song, "You're Beautiful" by James Blunt was like everything. Where I'm like, oh my god. And then she got off the bus and I was like, okay, goodbye, goodbye forever. Like,
oh my God.
It was, so I feel like it exists, but it's more like puppy love. Like when somebody floors you.
Oh, so it's just a little crush then,
Yeah.
you mean?
I feel
Which
like
asexuals do have. I think there's actually a question later on, I think I saw somewhere about if we have crushes.
Yeah.
Which crushes is completely different from really liking someone.
Yeah.
But we'll get more into that later.
That's a story for another time. There you go. Isabel asks, when did you know you were asexual?
Okay.
When?
I mean, mine was like a few-year process, you could say.
Yeah.
Because, like, for me, I'd say when I was like 17, I started to realize that, hey, I'm not feeling these sexual attractions that everyone else has been feeling throughout high school, and I'm clearly way past puberty. So, I think that's a sign.
Yeah.
However, I got confused because I knew I still liked guys. So I was like, oh, so I guess I'm not asexual? It wasn't until 2 years after that when I think I was in college, and then I joined an asexual group at my, no, an asexual organization at my college, and they taught me that there is a difference between sexual attraction and romantic attraction. So I was like, oh, okay. So between those, like, throughout those 2 years, I still kept on telling people that I was straight because I knew I liked guys, but I didn't want to have any sexual interaction with them.
Yeah, and that's, honestly, I feel like that's, like, as much as we say, like, oh, it's different for every ace, I feel like most aces have the same, like, general, like, high school experience of, like, everybody's boning somebody but me. And not in the, like, I can't get any as much as, like, I don't want any. And I don't know why. Like, I feel like that's like, I had that to the point where, and we've talked about this in the Lonely Otaku stream from Valentine's Day, but I was the guy who would date, like, one girl for a week, and then I'd move on, and I would just keep doing that. I did that with, like, friends of my ex. Like, I'd be like, I'll date this person for a week, and then I'll date their friend, and then I'll move to their friend, and their friend, and I was just horrible. Like, because I was so, like, I was out, first of all, I was already in a bad crowd. Won't get into that, but I was in a bad crowd as it was, and I was trying to figure out, like, what is wrong with me? Like, what, I don't understand. And so I'd go from, like, person to person and feel nothing. I'd feel, like, every so often I'd find somebody that I'm like, oh, I like this person a lot, but I don't quite know why I don't feel anything in regards to, like, when things began happening with said partners, I would always kind of be the one who pulls back.
Oh, okay.
And because I was like, nah, I would initiate most times. Because I'd be like, once you're in the midst of it, you'll be fine. And then I'd always be the one who backs out because I and it's not fair to them either, but it's how I felt, and I couldn't quite grasp for a long time. It wasn't until I was like, in college that I figured out, like, who I was. And I feel like for most people, it's typically college when you're able to experiment that you kind of discover whether you do or don't like it.
So next we have Lilac from Lilac Memories. Heyo, girl.
Heyo, girl.
You should subscribe
what
to her.
What you saying?
Yeah.
How you living? Sorry. Can I get your number? Can I have it? I've watched Lilac Memories videos, so I should be saying, like, I should stop while I'm behind. Anyway.
So she says, I didn't know you're asexual. How and when did you realize you're asexual? So we already answered that. Has anyone acted weird towards you because of it? Like, sometimes people just don't understand stuff like that. I mean,
really.
That's never really happened in real life. It's really more online, I've noticed. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I got a couple of rude comments and stuff, just being like, what is that? You know, just saying
mean?
that, like, we don't exist.
What that mean?
Like,
When fate go, when fate go, come back.
Oh my God.
What that mean?
Actually, Jojo, I don't know if you remember this, but one time we were on one of Tony the Black Critic guy's streams, and we were, like, in the chat, and we were trying to explain to Tony what asexual is, and he just could not understand. Like, we try our best,
I think
but,
that's a thing. Like, and yeah, your friends aren't gonna understand, because let me say this without and understand that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. You are not the norm, because most people are sexually active. I think maybe 2% of the population is ace. Am I wrong?
I believe it's one, and most of it is girls.
And when I say you're not the norm, first of all, being normal is friggin' overrated. Second of all, you're still, at heart, humans are still technically an animal. So most animals are meant to procreate. Words, I am bad at them. So technically, it's not normal. Doesn't mean you're weird. It's just a chemical imbalance. Most people have chemical imbalances. But it's just that it's different. So most people will have Tony's reaction of, like, huh? Like, because you have to understand, for a lot of people, especially dudes, that's 24/7, man. That's all everybody's thinking about. Like, when am I getting it? How long till I get it? Like, so while I'm thinking about when am I going to get to play ukulele next, or when am I going to get to knitting again, everybody else is thinking about other things. And that's fair. Because everybody's different, everybody's got other stuff going on. So when people say, huh, don't be offended. It's just that it's a little bit, I don't want to say strange as much as different, and they're not used to hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just know that up front. That said, though, I don't, like you were saying, I don't know if I've ever had even online, I've been very lucky. I've never had a really, weird conversation about it. I think Tony was the most surprised. Because I have a friend who's an environmental scientist, and I have friends who are in the medical field, and I have scientist friends. My friends are very smart, and I'm very dumb, so it's very hard to hold conversations with them. But it's funny because I remember when I approached them with it, I was very curious to hear what they had to say because they are men of science. So I wanted to hear what they had to say, and they're like, "Yeah, no, that's a thing. Yeah, it happens.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
they're
cool.
like, no, yeah, that's scientifically accurate. You just have a low sex drive, and you don't feel like having sex. That's all. It's not a big deal." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And that was it, and it never really came up again. Yeah.
You see, JoJo lives in the Holy Land of Canada, where everyone's nice.
Exactly.
I live in the trash dump of America.
This is America. Sorry, I'm not going to start that.
Exactly. I was hoping you would say that.
There you go. But yeah, that's I don't have you ever had a in-person altercation over Ace? I don't know how to call it, but not an argument, but have anybody be like, "What?"
No, not in person. It's just really been online, honestly. It's usually just from people that are trolls or someone that's just confused. And I know that some people the main reason why people get confused is that they don't see sexual attraction and romantic attraction as separate.
Yeah.
They see it as the same. But then that's when I tell them, well, it's kind of like bisexuals. A lot of people, basically everyone understands who and what bisexuals are. But some bisexuals, even though they're sexually attracted to both genders, that doesn't really mean that they want to be with both. Some are more attracted to the opposite sex. Some are more attracted to the same sex. It's different.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Kukullan asks, "Why is being asexual with romantic tendencies fine, but me being overly sexual and aromantic somehow makes me an asshole with commitment issues?" I love Ku so much. Ku's my... You are my brother. You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you. I still do love Ku, though. I don't like... And I wouldn't chop off Ku's limbs. This is a Star Wars joke for anybody who's like, whoa, what? But yeah. Do you have an answer for Ku?
So, is he just saying that he likes hookups?
I think that's what he's saying. Basically. I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. It's actually kind of odd. Some people, basically everyone understands hookups, but people don't understand the opposite. What if we just want the emotion? What if we just want the romance, but not the sex? But it's okay to want the sex, but not the romance.
Yeah. We just want a party. Party just for you. Sorry. Now the song's stuck in my head. I'm sorry. No, we just want emotion. I think most ace people, I should specify. Most ace people who are down for a relationship just kind of want the connection of being in a relationship. That's what I want. I can't speak for aromantic asexuals, because they just want friendship. Mm-hmm. Whereas Ku just wants to bang, essentially, and I don't fault him for that. I feel like that's valid. Most people want to do that anyway.
Yeah.
And by the way, while I'm on the topic, hot take: you shouldn't slut shame girls who get a lot of sex because nobody faults dudes for getting a lot of sex. I'm just saying.
Mic drop.
Although I feel like that's pretty common at this point. If you shit on a girl for having a lot of sex, but you praise your dude bros for having a lot of that's lame. Come on, she's more fun than he is. You kidding me? But yeah, no. That's all I want to say on that.
Here we go. So, how do I say this? Squeegee Beckenheim? Squeegee Beckenheim says...
Squeegee Beckenheim! That's the best name ever! You rock, Squeegee.
She says, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about asexuality? I think I mentioned it a little earlier when I said that, you know, a lot of people think, and even some asexuals think this too, that we have either a very low or non-existent sex drive. I think that's the biggest one.
It comes down to, like, that's certainly part of it. Most ace tend to have a low sex drive, but not all. So that is a misconception. Like, that is a big misconception. Like, you can have there's plenty of aces if you go on like Avon or anything who will talk about like, yeah, that's like a nightly ritual is to get the rocks off and go to bed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily imply that they're interested in sex. It's just they would rather do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's like washing the dishes.
Yeah. I equate it to and this is gonna get TMI. Like, I equate it to getting your car's oil changed, because you got to do it. Like, otherwise the car's gonna get all kinds of fucked up. So, pardon my French. So, yeah, sometimes you just gotta tune up the car, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And it's doesn't somehow don't let that confuse you, because it really just comes down to, do you like to bang people or not? That is the very simple question of being ace. Like, do you want to have sex? No? Then you're probably ace.
I mean, like, there are also some asexuals that they will have sex, and the thing is that they're still not attracted to the person. They're not attracted to the person sexually, so I'm going to use a TMI word here. So they are not horny for people. Basically, they will continue to have sex for their loved one, maybe, possibly. Some people, not always, and they'll just treat it like, yep, that happened. They didn't.
I guess there should be just a general TMI warning on most of the video. But that is a question that that is something I want to dial back, because I'm sure that question is going to come up, is like relationships. But it's true, yeah. Ace people, it's not like ace people can't have sex.
And if you do, that doesn't mean you're automatically no longer asexual.
Yeah, you can still not like it. I brush my teeth in the morning. Doesn't mean I like doing it. Like, doesn't mean like I wake up every day like, oh, I can't wait to brush my teeth. Like, what? Or like, I go to the doctors. Doesn't mean I'm excited to go to the friggin' doctors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you having sex does not minimize your asexuality if you don't like it. Though I'm sure there's people in the community who will say otherwise.
There's also, demisexuals where they can be physically attracted to someone, but that's to someone that they absolutely like love. Like, that's definitely the one for them. They do not feel any sort of, quote unquote horniness for other people's, like if they see it on screen, like, oh my gosh, Chris Hemsworth, he's taking off his shirt, oh my gosh. They don't feel anything. They will only feel something if it's their loved one. Basically demisexuals.
Has being asexual affected your chances at finding a partner? And does your family know and / your friends know about you being asexual, and how did they react?
Okay, so the first part of that question was have we ever been in a loving relationship, was it?
How has being ace affected a relationship or finding a partner?
Okay, so important thing to note is that Jojo, you are, 25?
I'm 25.
Yes, you're 25. I am 20. Jojo has more experience than I do, so that's one thing to note.
Yes. I guess, I'll start. It will affect... Here comes more hard pills to swallow, some truth pills. It will affect your relationship. It just will, and it will probably blow it for you. Realistically. It is certainly a problem, and it's something you need to talk with your partner about before you start dating. Go on a couple dates. Test them out as a person. If you like them and you want to start dating them, say, hey, I'm asexual. Asexual means I'm just not really interested in sex. How will that, are you okay with that? How can we work around that? Because a relationship at the end of the day is compromise. So you have to make compromises. as an ace person, I've dated a number of people. I dated this when I realized I was ace was in the midst of a 4-year-long relationship.
Oh.
And that was sex-free the whole way through.
Right on.
Stuff happened, but it was always me kind of recoiling. Like, I would initiate and then I'd recoil, and this was like the last point where I realized, like, during my college days, where I realized, like, oh, okay, I'm ace.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in relationships since then, and it's you're just gonna have to compromise. Like, you're gonna have to come to an understanding that the other person has needs that need to be satisfied, and you have to suck it up and be an adult if you're going to be in a relationship. So sometimes that means having sex when you don't want to have sex. And even sexually active people can attest to that. I'm sure there's many a girlfriend who has woken up in the morning to, like, hey, let's do the thing. You know what I mean? You got to make compromises sometimes. And I'm sure nobody wants to hear that. Everybody just wants to tell me, like, no, everything's sunshine and rainbows, and you do you, boo-boo. No, you need to make compromises. You need to understand that being in a relationship is 50-50. There's a great Swoozy video where he equates being in a relationship to 50% and 50%. So if you're putting 100% of effort into the relationship, that equates to 50%. And if the other person's putting in 100%, then your two 50% make 100%. So you got a solid relationship. But if you're putting in like 40%, even if they're putting in 100, it's not going to work out. So that said, you could also just find another ace person, but that's like finding a needle in a friggin' haystack the size of Everest.
Yeah, there's a good chance that you're just going to go out with another sexual person.
Yeah. And like I said, you're going to have to make compromises, or that person can make compromises. I mean, they're going to have to, too. Like, if they say, like, it's a nightly thing, then you're going to need to talk to that person. But if you can, like, kind of whittle it down to, like, hey, man, like, how about, like, once every 2 weeks, or, like, once a week, or once a month, or probably not once a year, because that person might go crazy. But, yeah, you just got to talk it out. And it will work out if you have good communication and there's... Yeah, just good communication and compromise. As for my family, they don't care. I live in Canada. Nobody cares. Yeah, my friends and my family... Like, I already said, my friends, mostly men of science and ladies of science. And, yeah, none of them cared. Most of them were like, yeah, that's a thing. We're kind of, like... We always kind of... In fact, most of them were like, yeah, I kind of figured. You were always a little bit of an odd duck when it came to relationships. So, yeah, we kind of figured. My mom was like, cool, what that mean? And was very interested, whereas my dad and my brother were like, that's cool. Like, that's it. Like, yeah, my family didn't really react. My friends didn't really react.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Canadian. We're nice over here.
For me, let's see here. I'm trying to remember the first part of the question. It was like the relationship thing, right?
Yeah,
so,
how was that affected?
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, sorry. So basically, I've only really been in one relationship, sort of, really. We were just going out for a few months. And before he went out with me, he actually went out with another asexual, and he's not asexual himself because, oh boy, the guy, he's like, he just turned 25. So in his earlier days, he used to be the guy over in the convention that would bang everyone. So,
hey now.
Yeah, after all that, and he realized that he just wanted a relationship, he went out with someone who is asexual. So he respected her choices. They did not have any intimacy whatsoever. All they did was cuddle. She didn't even like kissing, except for maybe a peck, really. That was it. They broke it off, not because her being asexual, it's because she was, like, unsure of things. She didn't really like that she was asexual. So they kind of broke it off. Then he went out with me. We didn't get very far because, again, we were only dating. So the only thing we did was just hold hands, and I think... No, we held hands and we hugged, basically. And we broke it off because he just was interested in someone else, and she turns out to be demisexual, so...
This poor guy.
You know?
Because I'm like, the odds of this are astronomical.
Exactly. So that's me. I've really let me think about my parents and stuff. My mom, she at first was just like, don't label yourself, try things. But then I showed her a video by it's my favorite video on asexuality, period. And it is another Q&A on with Simply Kenna, and she does a Q&A on being arrow ace. And I showed that to my mom
because it's Simply Kenna and she is simply wonderful.
Yeah, no, like
There you go.
I love that video.
I knew that was coming. I knew at some point Simply Kenna was gonna come up.
I showed that to my mom, and then she understood immediately. My dad just... Okay, you can't give my dad the exact term, otherwise he'll get confused. So I told him what I tell everybody else. I likes the dudes, but I don't wants to do the dudes, and he immediately understood. All right?
I feel like your dad was probably like, awesome! Like, that sounds great! Yeah, most parents will be like, sweet! That's one less thing I don't have to worry about for you.
Exactly. And my sister just believes I'm a beautiful unicorn, and my little brother, he doesn't care because he's 13. So.
Yeah.
So let's move on a little more lighter topic here. Okami says, what do you think of the asexual flag?
The asexual flag?
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah, I think, it's technically the darkest one out of all of them.
I think that makes sense though.
Yeah, I like it because I think it's badass because it's the darkest one out of all of them. Like, look, we got purple, white, gray, and black. All right.
Well, I mean, yeah, like to me, like, it's funny because anytime I think of, I don't know if you've seen the video, but anytime I think of like the pride flag, I think of the Astiff movie, where it's like, Doctor, I think I might be a homosexual. How can you tell? Rainbow. He just perps out rainbows.
Oh my gosh.
You couldn't do that with Ace. It would look really bizarre. Because it would just look like you're spitting up black goo. But, like, I think the Ace flag makes a lot of sense. Like, it's black and white, and then there's a little bit of gray and a little bit of color, but it's mostly, like, darker, kind of more, like, cut and dry colors.
Yeah.
Black, white, gray, purple.
Especially the gray with, like gray sexuals. You know?
Purple, demi, like, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like the color scheme. I think it works well with a lot of, like, every so often, if I'm, like, playing a game, I'll make that my color scheme. Not because, like, oh, he's Ace and he wants all his characters. No, I just think it's a cool color scheme. Like, purple, black, and white, it just looks cool. Yeah, I think it's cool. So Sassy asks, so you say that ecchi anime has aesthetic to you as an ace. Could you elaborate on that?
That was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, we are anti-tubers. Makes sense. It just does. I don't know how to... I'm trying to elaborate. But it's mostly just I had a tweet that blew up for no fucking reason. For my French again. Jeez. Swearing up a storm. Sailor I am. But I've said this before. You could appreciate somebody aesthetically and not want to bang them, and the same goes for the anime babes. In fact, it goes even more for the anime babes, because typically they have pronounced assets, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same goes for the dudes, because that's part of Free, man. I can't deny Free has some top-tier man service. So I can appreciate aesthetics. I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that Makoto is a fine-looking boy.
Oh, yes.
He's a fine man, and any lady would be lucky to have him, or dude. But not Haru, because Haru's in a relationship. But, but, I wouldn't want to bang Makoto. Like, not interested in that sense. You know what I mean? And the same goes for, like Chris Hemsworth. We keep coming back to Chris Hemsworth on this. I think Chris Hemsworth is a unbelievable Greek god of a man. But wouldn't want to bang Chris Hemsworth. No. I would love to get a pint with Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I would love to get a pint with all the Chris's, if I'm honest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that's about it. So I feel, when it comes to ecchi anime, I could be like, damn, that's hot, like Keijo, and ridiculous. But, because most ecchi is ridiculous. But it doesn't mean that I'm like, that's hot, fat.
Yeah.
That's not what it means. It just means, like, yeah, that's attractive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we can recognize when someone's attractive.
Yeah.
Even I
like
think
Kill la Kill.
arrow aces also can recognize when something's attractive. Like, actually, Simply Ken, I remember in the video, says, like, it's like when you see a nice statue or a painting. Like, you don't want to bang the statue or the painting, but you recognize, like, damn, that looks really nice.
That's actually a great point. You know what? I should have just said that. I retract everything I said and replace it with what Sloan just said.
Because, like, I sometimes retweet, like, some really, I wouldn't say really explicit, but some really sexy looking art of, like, I remember the other day I, like, retweeted a fan art of Rem from ReZero, and she's, like, in lingerie and stuff, and she's, like, holding a popsicle. I was like, damn, that looks so nice. Retweet, but I'm not gonna want to be all like, god damn it, I wish she was real, because she is fine, and I would do that. Like, no, that's not how it is.
You can appreciate aesthetics and not want to bang them. I saw that picture. I saved that picture in my for later folder.
That's great.
There you go. There you go. You can appreciate aesthetics and not want to bang Rem. Put that on my gravestone. You can appreciate aesthetics and not want to bang Rem. 2018.
So, Isabel Copey here says, how do you know if you are asexual if you never had sex, or if you if you get the feeling you want to have sex with someone? Okay, the last part of there was a little shaky, but the first part of the question is, how do you know if you are asexual if you never had sex? I feel like you can only tell after
puberty. Do you
puberty.
want to have? Yeah, like, you have to. That's the thing, too. If you're watching this and you are, like, under... How old did you say?
Like, if you're, like, under 13, like, you have to hit puberty first. Because puberty is when you get the drives, or when you're supposed to, you know?
I would say, if you are old enough to be taking a sex ed class, and you're in high school and you're taking sex ed, because they're not going to teach you this. Or they might, depending on your school, I guess.
Yeah.
My school didn't. I went to a Catholic school.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you should... When you hit puberty, you're going to have a lot of shit swirling around in your head. One of them is must bang, need to bang, have to bang. Like, that's going to be one of them. Unless you're ace. If you're ace, you're not going to have that. So when your friends start saying that, like, Ashley from Class 2B is super hot and he's going to tap that, and you have no reaction, you're probably ace. So that's how you can tell. Like, do you want to bang somebody? There you go.
If you look at Chris Hemsworth...
Yeah, when you look at Chris Hemsworth, Greek god of a man. If they ever make a God of War movie, goddamn, Chris Hemsworth. But if you look at Chris Hemsworth and you were like, that man is a Greek god of a man I would love to have a pint with. If that sentence doesn't end that way and ends with, I would love to blank with, and it's anything remotely what you're thinking, you're probably not ace. Yeah. That's that.
Oh my gosh, Chris Hemsworth, I can't.
Chris Hemsworth, man. He's a good dude. Chris Hemsworth's a funny dude. Love that man.
Oh my god, I can't. But yeah, like, for me, like I said earlier, I didn't realize, well, somewhat realize until I was 17, and then I fully realized when I was like 19. You know, about both sides of being, you know, the sexual and the romantic part. But you definitely have to hit puberty first, and if you don't, if you do still get like a sex drive, that's cool, because as we said before, asexuals can't have a sex drive. But if that sex drive isn't leading towards any gender, it better not be a plant, but if it's not leading towards any gender, then, you know, then you're ace. That's pretty much it.
If you want to bang a plant, you're gonna end up on the Learning Channel, and H3H3 is gonna make some top tier Papa Bless videos on you. I'm just saying. Don't be banging plants.
Oh my god. Please don't bang plants.
Papa Bless.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I would say too, like, for the most part, in the questions we've answered, and if you are under this age, no offense to you, not trying to be mean to you, but typically I'm, like, directing these at people who are, like, 18 and older. Because I'm like, that's around the time that I found out. So I'm kind of directing it that way. There's a lot of great videos, like Sloan said, Simply Kenna. Another great YouTuber who is Demi, but falls under the Ace umbrella, is Evan Edinger. Alright,
so I switched over from Twitter to the YouTube comments, and I'm just going to choose two out of these, because...
The YouTubes?
Yeah, the YouTubes in the community tab. So Edward Gamer says, do asexuals have families?
What?
He says, do asexuals have families? I think he means, like, if we were to get married and have a family, not like...
Oh, okay, I was like, what was the username?
Oh, Edward Gamer.
Okay, I was like, Ed, we gotta have a talk, man. I don't know. I don't know what you think of it. No, but that's a fair question if he means, like, can they have a family? Yeah, Ed, I mean, like, it's the same thing I was saying earlier with relationships, you know? It's like, in a relationship, if your partner wants kids, you're gonna have to have a conversation about that. I don't. So it's just kind of, like, me being ace is kind of a happy coincidence, because I also don't want kids. Kids are...
I know.
But, like you, Atreus, boy! Anyway, that's a God of War joke that Sloan was like, what? Anyway, dad of boy. But yeah, like, some aces will have a family because their partner wants a family. Some aces may want kids.
Yeah.
They just don't like the act of getting a kid. I feel like that's valid.
Yeah, like, I know for me, I don't even know if I want to get married, to be honest. I'll be, like, I don't know about that.
I do want to get married. Like, I want to get married. Like, my ideal, like, and I think we've talked about this before. Like, my ideal, like, twilight years would be, like, me sitting in the rocking chair on the porch with a lovely wife. We've been married for years and years, and we've got, like, a bunch of dogs and a couple cats, like, on a big farm somewhere. And, like, that's what ideally that's what I want. I don't want any kids, because I just don't, I am too immature to raise another human being, and I know me, and that I will not be a good parent. Like, I'll be the parent who's just like, honey, like, me and Jet are home, because I would be the asshole who names his kid Jet, with 2 T's. Yeah, so, yeah, honey, me and Jet are back. She'll be like, that's not Jet. And I'll be like, oh no! I brought home a cactus! Where's Jet?
My goodness.
Like, I'll be the neglectful, like, I would be a terrible parent. But I think most ace people would probably make solid parents. Because ace people are just normal-ass freaking people.
Yeah, like, for me, my idea of a family for me in the future is I may or may not have a boo, and by boo I mean boyfriend. I'm still kind of sketchy on the whole marriage thing. I might just want a boyfriend and that's it. But for me, my childrens will be 2 cats and a bunny, a floppy-eared bunny. All right, it's gotta be floppy-eared or there's no ears. That's it. All right.
You turned into like Medea on me at the end of the Charon. Charon? Sorry. My family watches a lot of Medea. Oh. Yeah, I have flashbacks to Medea movies.
Oh dear. But
they're not terrible.
Like, some aces will want to adopt, which I think is awesome because I feel like more kids, like more orphans should get adopted because then they're out in the woods alone. After they're 18, you know, they're kicked out of the orphanage. So, yeah.
I think humankind just sucks. So we should just stop it. We should just take ourselves off the table. I'm lying, by the way. Like, just in case everyone's like, what? Anyway.
Then the final question I'm going to choose, and I love this question so much. What is your opinion on pansexuals? I think...
What's a pansexual?
Oh, pansexual. They are, basically how I describe it is that they can, because they say pansexual, not panromantic. So the pans, basically, they look for personality, you know, emotion, stuff like that. So if you guys are very similar in the personality, then they're going to be turned on by you, alrighties? I think the pansexuals are beautiful unicorns, and I feel like we should all be pansexuals, and they are the master race. That is what I say about pansexuals. They are beautiful creatures.
I have no opinion.
I had no idea.
Because I was like, that sounds like ace people. I don't understand.
They are a lot like ace.
That sounds like a demisexual. That's the thing. There's too many labels. Like, and they have like such minuscule differences between each other. It drives me up the wall. I can't keep track. Like, pansexual sounds like those only attracted to characters from Peter Pan. Like, only those who are attracted to Captain Hook may be pansexuals. Like, that's what it sounds like. Not interested.
So if you're attracted to Peter Pan, you're a pansexual, hey!
And a pedophile. Peter's a child.
Oh boy.
But yeah, there you go.
Alrighties.
If you're attracted to Peter Pan from, is there an adult Peter? From the movie Hook. There you go.
Ew.
Robin Williams, man. Top tier.
Oh my god. Well, that's it. We actually answered quite a bit of questions, and there's something in my eye. I'm twitching. But we answered a lot of questions. Thank you guys so much. A lot of you guys were super respectful, did your research, asked some really interesting questions. And I really hope that this super long video helps out a little ace or a little questioning person or someone who is dating someone on the ace spectrum and just wants to learn more about them. You know, that they want to be respectful, so they're doing their research and stuff. Whenever you're watching this video.
You the real MVPs. You the real MVPs. The ones who are making the sacrifices. Being in relationships. You guys, I believe in you. And you're gonna get through this just fine. I got really, like, intense for no reason. I was like, yes, you can do it. You can win. Sorry.
Oh, man.
I don't know why I did that.
Basically, by the end of the day, just remember, Chris Hemsworth is a Greek god.
I thought you were gonna say don't scare me. I was like, what? Steal my ending, whatever.
Oh man, I'm gonna end it here, guys. Make sure you subscribe to JoJo Talks Too Much, and don't forget to leave a like, please, because we're gonna get spammed with dislikes. So thank you.
Yep.
I'm your female otaku. Sayonara.